Okay, so week 10 of NFL football has happened. My Niners have is going to culminate the entire week by facing off against the LA Rams with newly acquired injury-prone ass Von Miller and hasn't been relevant since 2016 Odell Beckham. Being an absolute cancer in the locker room, but still an elite offense, we could lose. Hopefully we don't, and we actually play up with our youthful offense and our weak defensive front seven. I have like low expectations on what the Niners are gonna do, but other than that, these are the wins that happened over Week 10. Baltimore Ravens fall off short on Thursday Night Football and Veterans Day against the Miami Dolphins, 10-22, with Lamar picking up, still leading in rushing yards over with their defense picking up a low yardage. It felt like Lamar didn't know what the hell he was doing on offense. If just noticing like how weak all the scoring was, like missed over short passes, over passes over the tight end, weak over 2 turnovers. Lamar Jackson was just not playing how it was against the 3-7. Like, aren't they 3-7 currently in the NFL? They're like bottom next to the New York Jets. What a confidence booster facing off against a division leader like the Baltimore Ravens. They now fall off. Jacksonville, after literally upsetting the division-leading AFC East Buffalo Bills, they fell off on Sunday night against Indianapolis Colts that were coming off their bye, I guess. Well, they lose 23-17. Carson Wentz went a reasonable play. Jonathan Taylor scored, I think, 2 rushing touchdowns. He went 116. I think he was the second leading rusher of the week. A shocker upset. Tampa Bay defeats, lose 19-29 to the Washington football team. And just to know how sad it went, Tom Brady threw 2 picks. I am shocked myself. There was Joey Style with a 46-yard field goal. He opened over a 2-game score. So I thought this was going to leech over scoring, and then in the second half, Tom Brady would do his usual comeback. They wouldn't be scoring his 6 points until later in the second half. And that didn't even count over a 40-yard gain coming up from a failed kick off Ryan Sukup. There was an Antonio Gibson score. There was nothing carrying on the 2 picks Tom Brady given to the Washington football team's defense at all. It was like absolutely amazing what just happened. And that came Bobby McCain catching 1. Oh man, and then William Jackson, I think it was a short-term pass down. Cameron Carl got a few stops. I don't think anybody averaged a sack, though, against Tom Brady, though. Except Devin White, they had Kirk Heinrich for about 2 sacks, but it really did not matter. Ndamukong Suh didn't seem to be effective, even though he only had 2 tackles alone and only had 1 stop of yardage, and most of it was just trying to stop over the running game. The best running game of the week had to be the Detroit Lions. Because I'm just shocked itself. If they just had a better passing performance, beating Pittsburgh would have been a piece of cake. DeAndre Swift went for 130. And I think he had like a 56-yard carry by himself. Like, bro, he played like a beast. You gotta give it up to him. It came over a comeback drive over Chris Bosil 51-yarder off the 4th quarter, ending in overtime that ended in a draw. So, guess what, kids? Pittsburgh didn't technically lose to the worst team in the NFL. And guess what? Sorry about that. And guess what? Detroit's still winless. Everybody still loses in their hearts, because I'm trying to find the positive of this. Mason Rudolph played like an absolute scrub. Najee Harris, like, even though he hit over 105 and he did get some decent first downs, it kept going third down, handoff over to the halfback. DeAndre Swift came over off 33 attempts carrying over the ball. Jared Goff went 1 of 14 with a 14 of 25 completion rating. It's like he didn't even know he had a receiving core. He had a below average completion rating for a quarterback over the starting position. This is just more exposing that he was a system QB back when he was coached by Sean McVay with LA. And now LA is one of the most hottest commodities in the NFL right now, with just having the luckiest trades to ever happen. On a more positive note, we have the Arizona Cardinals falling short after blowing out the San Francisco 49ers. They come back losing to a Cam Newton returning Carolina Panthers. I mean, the only highlight came over him rushing over the ball. Like, second half, they're already shutting them out by 17. Then the first, literally, just 17 points, just a total of 14 points. Then it went over to 17 points. We were coming over to the second quarter. It was already 23-0 coming in the first half. We didn't get much to even talk about until it was they were up in the red zone with Colt McCoy taking so many sacks, and it came over James Conner rushing touchdown. Literally watching that game was just unwatchable. You can see it on the splits that they were even starting some big dude. I think James Johnson, his name is, and he got sacked twice. Cam Newton kept it average with an above average QB rating, but you can't say anything whenever you only complete 3 of your 4 passes and then let PJ Walker just play the rest of your game. He went 22 of 29 with 167. And that's about it. I think the most they're gonna make him do is play Washington football team, so they can think people care about him playing his old coach. That's kind of the reason why they made it to the Super Bowl anyway, trying to utilize the talents of Cam Newton. Yeah, but God, not the most impressive performance coming out of Arizona. And we expect a bit more over one of the top offenses that do fall short against teams a bit lower around their tier. And this is coming over just a few weeks short after they lost to Green Bay over their winning streak. They shut off one of their lower tier division rivals, and then they're coming back facing up against a Panthers team that's been falling off short since the quarter season, losing I think 3 straight games, even losing to New England, and now they just shut them off 24 points. Bro. There's more one-sided affairs off an abusive relationship involving Superman and Lois Lane off that type of crap. This is just an embarrassing display for one supposed to be supposedly another contender in the NFC other than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you all know it. There's been barely any exciting games going over week 10. Like, honestly, it was either a shutout, a failed offense, or just a boring game of football. Like, I think over 10 games already ended in double digits. The only games that ended in single digits was Jacksonville and Indianapolis, and New Orleans and Tennessee. That's it. God knows what's going to happen on Monday night. I might go live for that. I don't know. We also had Dallas versus Atlanta. That ended how we expected after people thought, oh, they're not the contender. I mean, yeah, I doubted that they were going to be contender when they faced teams below 500. Even though Atlanta has a passable offense, Kyle Pitts was leading over receiving for a bit, but it really didn't work out when it came over. Drop balls, weak possessions. There was a missed reception that ended in an interception. And still, Trayvon Diggs comes as the leading interceptor in the NFL. There was also a Jerron Lewis interception. Anthony Brown picked off an interception that I think that was dropped by an Atlanta Falcons receiver. And I think that was Sequoia's off a short route. Nobody played good on Atlanta. Just ending in 3 points You guys don't take the L train because you don't deserve public transportation with the other human beings when you're the only team next to the Seattle Seahawks in a Green Bay game. Usually over the years, we have seen memorable highlights involving Seattle Seahawks and Green Bay Packers, but ending in a 17-0 loss while Aaron Rodgers was having a mediocre performance where nobody scored double digits until the fourth quarter. Bro, it was literally 3-0 for 3 straight quarters, bro, and I didn't know who would sit by and watch that game. Russell Gage barely got the ball going. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott was actually used for a certain amount of passing plays, even though I think he dropped over a deep wheel route. He did carry for over 41 yards. Then I think he got hurt. Cooper Rush then played over, I think, the remainder of the game and went 3 for 3 off 17. Dak Prescott even played a good game. Went for 296, going at 24 of 31. Great passes over to CD Lamb down the red zone. I think it was like a 21-yarder. It was a 35... No, it wasn't a 21-yarder. It was a 9-yard pass over for a touchdown. Yeah. So, that ended in disappointment. Also, another disappointment, Denver losing to Philly after they just beat Dallas, the NFC East divisional leaders. And now they move over 5-5 in a sub-500 record in a really not fun-looking AFC West like we thought before, with Justin Herbert getting shut off by Minnesota. So, just knowing that that's the case, at least we saw a 52-yard kick. Brandon McManus came over 28-yarder, even though he can't even make 30-something yards. Jalen Hurts somehow played his ass off, even though he only went 16 of 23 with 172. Scored a touchdown, 1 pick. That's not bad at all. And only got about like a few rushing yards. Like at least 53 to pass up over his passing. And just knowing Teddy Bridgewater would play this mediocrely, going 22 of 36, even though he got more passing yards. It really didn't work well whenever it was a field goal attempt, whenever they weakly run the ball with Melvin Gordon, even though they always get shut off the backfield. Justin Simmons even picked off Bridgewater. The game was not even falling more competitive later on, and it was kind of a given that Denver would come off this tough loss against another NFC East team after beating their division leaders, and they couldn't even beat the garbage-ass Eagles? Really? Then we had a 17-0 goddamn loss against the Seattle Seahawks that are now in a matching record with us. We used to be in the NFC title game together. Two of the most iconic games to come out of the 2010s. Memorable bouts. Even with the Packers, they always had some great regular season to postseason games. And Matt LaFleur beats Pete Carroll in a scoreless and Yo, that was just an awful game. And it was snowing too, and I heard people were training while shirtless outside. A.J. Dillon came off a 3-yard carry over the red zone. Failed sweep plays, failed screen plays. Just overly... I don't know what happened to Aaron Jones. I don't know what happened to Aaron Jones. He seems to be hurt. Mason Crosby came over a 27-yard field goal. Russell Wilson... Oh, God, I don't know what happened to DK Metcalf. What happened to DK Metcalf? I'm super concerned. I don't know how he went catching 3 of 8 and only went 18 yards. Could barely even catch over a screenplay. Tyler Lockett also went 2 of 8. Will Disley. Oh, man, this was so bad. Russell Wilson, you don't see a league MVP like this. He always shows up in the early part of the season, then goes 20 of 40 with 161. It felt like he was playing a different sport with a QB rating of 39. Just chucking over the ball and see whatever could work. He couldn't even utilize a run play because their rushing sucks. A.J. Dillon came over as a leading rusher. A.J. Dillon. Aaron Jones only carried for 25 yards. They were using a borderline nickelback to lead over the field and score 2 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers played like shit too. Don't get me wrong. You can go over his statistics, and he got sacked, threw a bonehead interception, leaping over the red zone. And it's bad too when Kevin King picks you off, the guy that always gets blown out every time over a deep ball play. And he's coming around picking off Aaron Rodgers. I mean, not Aaron Rodgers. He's on the same team. That is stupid. But you don't expect that off Aaron Rodgers to throw bonehead interceptions. And it looked like he just kept lacking over whenever they had a position over in the red zone, and then they punted over when they're like at the 38 or something. Like they played, like this game was like not important to them when the Packers are division leaders, and we are halfway over the season. The Seahawks are not playing like their season is dependent on this. They're 3 of 6. Get your head out of your ass, Seattle. And this is a fan of your division rivals, because I know you guys have good talent on the roster. But they know that their offense can't bail them out. So, we also have, of course, New Orleans and Tennessee. That was an exciting game. I guess, because it was close. Trey Smith scored a nice out route over... Traquan Smith over Trevor Siemian scored an inside touchdown close, and I don't know how the hell he made that, and they missed the field goal. I don't know how that happened. Then Randy Bullock came off the 36-yarder. Tannehill ran the ball over for himself to score for Tennessee. Mark Ingram for a 13-yard carry to even score for New Orleans. Still, we're down by a touchdown. Then there was a Marcus Callaway touchdown that closing up the gap, but they couldn't even get the onside kick to go over. Yeah, Ryan Tannehill played like shit. He went at 19 of 27. That is at least the below average point of him nearly being as shit as Trevor Siemian. And Trevor Siemian threw for more yards and more touchdowns. I don't even know how that even come off a Mark Ingram rushing play. And then 2 touchdowns of Traquan Smith and Marquise Galloway. I don't know how Tennessee kept this close against a mediocre New Orleans Saints team. But they kept it over close. The pass rush was as decent as always. Cameron Jordan always doing cool over his splits. Came over with about five tackles. Didn't average any sacks. No tackle for losses coming over him except 1 QB hit off David Oyamada. Malcolm Jenkins got a great pass deflection over a deep play right there, but I think got called over for a flag. And there is some good defensive talent, but I don't think the Saints are going to make it over to the playoffs with the way they're playing. Now they're 5-4 with Atlanta like bottom of the NFC South. Tampa Bay still surviving out there because every team in that division is either losing their prime players, hurt, or just playing like absolute dog shit. Speaking about dog shit, the Jets lost. And speaking about the Jets, they just continue to disappoint. Just knowing that they lost after starting their second string mediocre ass quarterback trying to lose a bit of faith on Robert Saleh, after being a prime good defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, leading us to a Super Bowl. I had plenty of optimism, going already 2-7 in the NFL, and losing 45-17. Somehow at MetLife. Tyler Bass, there was Stephon Diggs giving over a deep ball touchdown. I think there was a 45-yarder that he even caught, but I think that got called off. Matt and Mendola hit a 48-yarder. That was impressive, even though it didn't really help. The rest of the scoring was off. Zach Moss, Matt Breida to Tyler Bass for a kick. Isaiah McKenzie for, I think he's the second string runner. And we didn't even get a score from Devin Singletary until the fourth quarter. It was QB hit after QB hit. 4 straight picks for Mike White. So much hype over him picking up wins. Even beating the Bengals in one case. And then he comes off doing 24-44. Weaker QB rating than Flacco that only completed 3 completions. And scored a passing touchdown. More than the QB that had more snaps than him. That is awful. Michael Carter's a good player, don't get me wrong. He played well. But it didn't really help. They kept going experiment play after experiment play. Tre'Davious White was a fucking ball hawk. Crazy pick. Jordan Pryor got a pick over a deep ball. And just do it. These guys just play amazing. I forgot how good their defense is. Jets had no chance against the division leaders. And now they end up 6-3. I don't know how much of the optimism is going over with the Bills over a decent record, because after just 3 weeks coming out of their bye, they come over and lose in a close one, then they come back and lose to Jacksonville, and now they're back pimp-slapping their division rivals like it's no tomorrow. Is this what happens when there's no dynasty anymore with the Patriots? I guess. I'm trying to find the faith here. Minnesota beating LA Chargers 27-20 to 20. And this was a somewhat mind-boggling game, because let's get it straight. Mike Zimmer looks like he has herpes. Nothing to do with the game. That's just what he looks like. Greg Joseph off of 2 massive field goals, trading a score over 45 yards off a Dustin Hopkins field goal 5 minutes later. And then Tyler Boykins off a 5-yard pass from Cousins for a touchdown over from a short gain off of play action. That was pretty cool. And an Austin Eckler touchdown to get the game close under double digits. Tyler Conklin came off. It was mainly red zone plays. Dalvin Cook even scored over a 1-yarder gain. There's some decent passes over to Justin Jefferson that I think a few got ruled over. And not even the leading receiver was the most in yards. It was Dalvin Cook coming over with 24 attempts and getting over 94 yards, with 1 TD coming out of most of it. Tyler Conklin played well, even though he only totaled 11 yards, and they were mainly relying over the run. And LA had no stop for it at all. Joey Bosa only averaged 1 sack, and so did Emin. Bare minimum of tackle for losses over LA. It was like they were just getting stopped over Justin Herbert. They were really relying over the play action, and they couldn't move the ball just as well. And they got exposed for that. LA are now moving down spiral, now 5-4 after starting. I think they started 4-2. And Minnesota's coming over, choking a lead that we thought that was going to happen this game after choking the lead to Baltimore the last week. Interesting. Just knowing that we're this close over to week 10, we're still around the holiday season, people. It's glad to get something for the holidays, and it's this sponsor. Absolutely nothing. You guys thought I was about that life. So we had Kansas City on Sunday Night Football going over and facing off the Kansas City Chiefs. The Las Vegas Raiders just got snuffed against the New York Giants. And then we didn't even see the end of it. After the Chiefs have been playing some shitty football, it's good to see it's actually a positive on home field on prime time, even though both teams haven't been exciting all season. And it seems like people have been trying to doubt that Patrick Mahomes was not even worth the price. There was some leached over footballs. Darrell Waller, they were really relying on to even pass, overthrowing off pressure snaps, and it just looked super weak. Derek Carr played really awful. Like, really awful. 25-35. 261 with only 2 passing touchdowns, but that was later in the half. And only with a 99 QB rating. Patrick Mahomes wasn't impressive as well, even though he got 2 passing touchdowns with 35-50. 406 yards. Still, without the touchdowns, this would be pretty over-reliant over a passing game when they were just relying on the rushing of Darrell Williams that barely got much going. They primarily used him for pass options over straight wide-out passes where he went 101 yards, second leading receiver next to Travis Kelsey. It wasn't even fair how they were burning the entire defense of Las Vegas. There was a 38-yard pass over Darrell Williams for a touchdown. Tyreek Hill came over 2 rushing touchdowns. Bro. Oh, man. And even finding Tyreek Hill, I think he was just off target, or the scheming to try to pressure him over double coverage was just good for him, because Tyreek Hill, I didn't see much of him over this game. Like, he only went 83 yards, and that's not bad, even being targeted 10 times and catching 7 of his passes. But it looks like every time they try to do a deep game with him, Mahomes was always off target on a few occasions, and he even got a fumble. So not the greatest performance for Tyreek Hill. We expect a bit more from him. Travis Kelsey had a hell of a good game, and so did Darrell Williams, being more of the run-pass option. Jerick McKinney as well had some minutes, but did not score, and only caught the ball once over 3 attempts. So did Mecole Hardman. That is being too hard to see on the field now. So hopefully this is a confidence booster for the Kansas City Chiefs that have the Cowboys in an interconference scuffle. And this is going to be an exciting game to see if Dallas is really worth being a contender or even being a division leader over this case. Or if Kansas can actually fix up and clean up their shit over the past 4 games. So that's all I'm going to say. We also have Monday night. We also have, of course, Monday Night Football that will conclude Week 10 with the San Francisco 49ers facing off against the LA Rams. Thank God we'll be in Levi Stadium for this. We're coming over only beating Chicago in our last 5 games. And just in our last 5 matchups, we have mopped the floor with LA for a majority of our seasons, with only beating us 48-32 back of 2018. Yes, for 2 seasons we have literally wiped the floor with LA. So that's the only confidence booster I have over most of this. We are at least under the top 20 when it comes to our pass option, our rushing plays. Our defense has shortly been declining with an allowance in points being 25th in the league. That is not good. 18th in the league. LA is obviously shown to be the better passing option, or defensively that's going to be our downfall. Hopefully, that is not the case, hopefully. And we can surprise with an upset. That's the most I can put over this, because if at least we were sub 500, I would have more things to talk about, but we're 3-5. And the only team worse than us currently right now is the Seattle Seahawks, shockingly to say, with the Rams and the Cardinals pushing over number 1 and number 2 in our division and in the top seed in the NFC. And seeing how LA kind of been drawing easy victories with Detroit, Texans, Giants, and the Seahawks, and we've been confidently getting decimated against most of our opponents. They've been facing easy competition. They've only lost. They had a majority of their losses against top seed teams like the Cardinals and the Tennessee Titans, and they won't have their bye after they face us, where they're going to have a lot more tough competition in the second half of the season come week 12. So that's the only optimism I can have coming over our game, that their disadvantage is they might be a bit too comfortable with us, even though they're one of the biggest offenses in the league, with the connection with Matt Stafford, with Cooper Kupp. And we don't know if Beckham will be active playing over in the roster and on prime time come tonight. But I'm expecting more worse than wear here, how we're going to lose, or if we even are going to pick up an upset. But that's beyond me. Other than that, that's it from the DST show. And for my Week 10 report and recap, hopefully Week 11 has a bit more exciting games, and we don't have any disgusting news, because other than the Odell Beckham signing with LA Rams, what happened with Henry Ruggs, I hope that shit never happens again. But nothing's for sure in sports, in life. You guys should learn that by now. But that's it for me. Thanks for watching.